You click this video because ChatGPT keeps forgetting context. You keep asking it questions, but it's not remembered what you'd said in a previous conversation, and it's really frustrating. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 lessons from our first AI weekly meetup at Vambrace. You'll see why folders are a game changer for keeping context in ChatGPT, so it feels like the answers it's giving you have actually come from inside your business. And we'll talk about how AI can potentially shrink months of customer feedback into a few minutes of interrogation. I'm Mike Hubbard. I'm Chief Revenue Officer at Vambrace. We're taking an AI-first approach to revenue operations. Now, what that means in practice is still to be defined, and that's the exciting part. And to explore this properly, I've set up a weekly meeting with our whole business to discuss AI. We use this meeting to discuss best practice, tools, ideas people have, looking across the business and how we can adopt efficiencies and potentially improve our business processes, gathering insight from every corner of the business. And importantly, the individuals as well, because each individual in the business is going to have some really exciting thoughts and views of their own, which we want to listen to. And that's why I want to share this journey with you, so we can share with you what we learn operationally, but potentially you can help us with as well. We'll be looking at this from every aspect, from sales, operations, finance, marketing, what we're learning, what we're exploring, and potentially some feedback from yourselves as to what you're finding works as well. The first thing I wanted to do with the team is ensure that everybody has the same understanding of what we're talking about. What is AI? We go to events and we see vendors and they're all talking about AI, saying, oh yeah, we've got AI, AI does this, AI do that. But AI has been around for decades. So we need to think about this as a roadmap, as a journey. The first stop on that roadmap is traditional AI, which is automation, which could be machine learning. If this, then that. They're all forms of automation, which is artificial intelligence. And it goes back decades. And you can find examples of this going back a long, long time. So just saying you do AI doesn't really differentiate itself from something that's been happening for decades. It could be a simple process. But the next step on this journey is what's got everyone really excited, is generative AI. This is AI that's being creative. This is where you can actually ask questions and get things back. This is video creation, image creation. We can ask ChatGPT for policies and process to be created, which gives us creativity on scale, on demand. The next step along is Agentic AI. Now, this is where we've still got generative AI, but the agents are sat on top and they're actually doing things for us, right? They are starting to do these tasks on our behalf, which then enables us to have more time back because the agents are going off doing these tasks that are more simple and process driven that we could get an agent to do. And that's the exciting part now, where it's really taking business automations to the next levels. So we've got the standard AI, we've got generative AI, and now we've got agentic AI as well.
AI is a journey. First stop, boring rule bots. Today, generative AI. Next, agentic AI.
Then the next step on the road is artificial general intelligence. Now, this is the nirvana bit where it's thinking like a human, right? This is doing activities for us. It's thinking for us. It's no longer science fiction. It is coming. It's not here yet, but that's the next thing to look out for. And it's important because if you don't know where your solution sits on that roadmap, what is it that you're doing that's different, or be able to articulate to your customers, then you're just another salesperson using the AI buzzwords.
The AI robots are coming.
Why are you so chill? Folders!
Okay, fair. Folders save lives.
We've rolled out ChatGPT across Vambrace, and a lot of the users are familiar with it, some aren't. So we need to get everybody to the same baseline. Most people try to manage ChatGPT with a single chat where you have streams and streams and streams of conversations. And then you have to go back through that chat to try and think, oh, what did I ask him about last week? And then try and find it because you're trying to keep that context.
The old way of keeping context in ChatGPT was basically this: chaos, paper cuts, regret. But now,
so you're either having to start from scratch and give it all that context again, or you need to give it a clean way to remember context. And the number one problem with context is that people are trying to keep all their context in a single chat window, which doesn't work. So I introduced folders to the team. The reason folders are so powerful is because you can stuff them full of context. You can put whatever you want in there, but basically you want all the stuff that's going to make your queries really sing. So your value proposition, customer objections, the pitch decks you've got, PDFs to support your products, potentially your sales enablement sessions or transcripts from those, any data points you've got around the products and services and what makes you different. So it's all things that you can add in there. So then when you ask a question, it's going to interrogate all of that information as well as potentially some online sources to then give you back something specific to your business. Instead of when you ask it a question and it's going to search the web, might find your website and it give you some loose contextual information around your services, but nothing really deep. So by having a folder, you can control what's in there and you can see all of your different chats that you've had. So you don't have just one single chat. You can have multiple chats in there because they're going to remember the context from everything. So you don't need to worry about keeping it all in one chat anymore.
Yay, folders!
The third point is a conversation that we really want to dig into. We don't have the answers yet, but this is where we can look at how do we get the context from all the conversations our salespeople have had. So we're going to start recording the conversations and get those transcripts. But then if we've got, a month's worth of calls and transcripts, surely within there we can see customer objections, we can see the type of trends they've got, the requirements, the things they're asking for, what are they objecting, what are the competition doing. All of these data points are in those conversations. Now, traditionally within a sales organization, you might review that, once every month, once every quarter with the team, right? What have you been talking about? How's it working? What are the common threads we're seeing? But it takes time, right? It'll take you months to potentially to review all of that and then implement any changes needed to your value proposition on the back of it. But now we've got the potential where we can gather all of that data together and just interrogate it quickly and say, right, what are the common objections? Is our value proposition actually hitting the mark? Do we need to adjust? And you can do that instantaneously in the same day with the data you've got and then adjust your value proposition accordingly. So the messaging going back out to your customers has been changed on the fly. Now that's where we want to get to. And we're going to work on that. We haven't got the answer right now, but I'd be interested to know if you've got any answers to that, of how we can go about doing it. But yeah, it's something that we're going to be looking at, and I will keep you updated on how we progress with that. And then the final part of this is the wider team. What do they bring to the party? Well, we had some great discussions, and there was one from Alex from finance. He showed us Risen, which is a prompting method that he's been using: role, instructions, steps, end goal, and narrowing. Now, this is not something that I've used previously, but it's something we're going to dig into next week as part of the weekly AI meeting, because understanding how to prompt efficiently is really, really important. And it's something we do want to dig into and understand further. So I will share that with you. Now, Nick, our COO, he suggested Gamma, which is something he's been using, Gamma.ai. This is where you put a text prompt in and then it produces a PowerPoint deck based on what you're talking about. Really, really powerful stuff, really slick. Obviously, the challenge there is we want to make sure that we can do that using our brand, right? So we need all of our assets in there. So we are following our brand guidelines and at the same time making sure that the content matches what we're selling, our value proposition, etc. But it's a great starting point. So that's another thing we're going to look at is, okay, well, if we're going to use something like this, where the sales team can potentially create decks on the fly that really, really look good and deliver what we want, how do we manage that? How do we make sure that we've got the brand guidelines in there, that the solutions are properly explained, etc. But there's definite benefits to it, but we just need to understand how we would manage that. So again, we'll look into it and hopefully I can share with you how we get on with that. And the third thing was from James, who is our head of delivery, one of our products, Mobster. He is looking at how we can use AI on the back end to interrogate Mobster for sales questions. So when, instead of going to pre-sales to say, customers asked if we can do this, the sales team can just type in the prompt, can Mobster do this? How does it work? And it tells them. So again, it cuts down that time of having to go to the product owners or pre-sales, when actually you could just type in a prompt to interrogate the solution to then find out if it actually does these things. And again, that's really exciting because it could cut down time. We don't have all the answers yet, but it's something we're looking into. And as I say, if we develop and work further, we will share that with you. So that is the first week of AI Weekly, and it's exciting. The potential we've got with AI is huge, but understanding how you can really get business benefit from it is the question everyone's got. And it's a journey we're all on, which is why I want to share with you. But also, I really want your feedback as well, and maybe some suggestions of how you're doing things, which we could adopt as well. I think one of the key takeaways from this week is that AI is only as good as the context you give it, and you need it to be organized as well, and it needs to be specific to your business. If you found this interesting, please subscribe, and we will update you next week with the next weekly AI. But if you're using any tooling or any processes that you think may be useful for me to understand, please reach out. I'd love to chat with you about it further. And remember, it's your journey. Everybody's on their own AI journeys at the moment, but own your journey. And let's see where it leads. So see you next week.